Hello and welcome back to this channel. Today we're gonna be analyzing the composition of three illustrations that I found. One is from the historical period Rococo, and the other two are from the artist Devin L. Kurtz. Sorry if I mispronounced that. You can find them on Twitter, that's where I find them, and I really like their illustrations, so let's begin. I'm gonna lower a bit the opacity so you can see my annotations better. Let's begin with where the eyes inside the picture are guiding us. If you pay attention here, all the eyes are pointing to the little girl. All of them are watching her, but she is watching this guy. Naturally, the way our eyes will work, it's we see the little girl and then we see the guy. And with that, we will also see the car in front of him. So in terms of where our eyes are being guided with the eyes inside the illustration, also if you pay attention, you can see that this illustration is also applying a bit of the rule of thirds. So I'm gonna do like a very quick read here, very rough. So if you pay attention, she is here in 1/3 and he is in the other third. So these are the points that are gonna draw our attention the most. Again, we keep the same logic of we're gonna see her and then we're gonna see him. We also have triangles here. So for example, we have the triangles of the little dogs. These triangles, again, she's in the middle of it. Her eyes literally draw like this line to him. And also the dogs and the yellow color in this section move us to see him and understand, oh, okay, this guy is stopping the traffic so nothing happened to the dogs, while the rest of the people are pretty much doing nothing. If you pay attention to the thirds, you can also realize that this line here is almost like the division of thirds, and probably if I did this more accurately, it will be a third. This is like a quick guide for me to analyze it faster. Also, in terms of the depth of the image, clearly this girl is smaller than the rest of the adults there, but in proportion she's bigger because she's closer to us. She's almost the size of this man, and yeah, he's bending a bit, but still, if she was really next to him, she will be smaller. And she's bigger than these two, who definitely, if she was next to them, she will be probably this size, around, even smaller, because she looks very, very, very small. But she's big because she's closer to us. That helps us with the sense of depth in this image. If you see, the lighter colors are here with this light blue, and the darker colors in general are here. In this case, the closer to the camera you are, the darker the colors are. This doesn't always happen, but it's a very good option. If you want to create depth in an easy way, you have your canvas and you start with a very, very light color in the background. And let's say this is, I'm gonna go with the one I always do, like a forest. So then we're gonna have some trees here. Let's pretend these are like good trees that are far away from us. Let's say we're gonna have, I don't know how to draw wolves, so sorry about this. Let's say we're gonna draw a wolf in the middle of everything, I don't know. Owing to the moon, and the moon is here. I'm making this up as I go. First of all, right now, we have only like one depth. That is, the wolf in this sketch is the same distance as the trees. They are in the same level of depth. But if I do this, I'm gonna cut it here. If I take that little wolf and I make it a bit darker, now he's closer to us. Again, this is just like a thumbnail. Now the wolf is closer, and we can add something even closer to the camera in our illustration. So let's say, so here I have the trunk of the tree. I could have here some bushes, smaller ones. And look that I'm using different shades of gray to make this sense of depth. I don't know, this could be grass. Let's say I have some grass here. If we imagine this like in some sort of three-dimensional thing, what we're gonna see, it's we have a box. And in the first part, we have the bush, the trunk of the tree, and the grass. Then we have the wolf. Let's pretend this looks like a wolf. I think it looks like a schnauzer. And then we have the trees. And then we have, even further away, we have the sky and we have the moon. So just with the value here, we can create this sense of depth using lighter colors. The farther away it is, darker colors, the closer it is to the camera. Moving to the next one, here we have another illustration from the same artist. First things first, this is a very, very large image. I usually don't like to work in that, so that's one of the reasons I wanted to analyze that, because it's out of my comfort zone. Once again, we have this sense of depth with these curtains. I'm assuming they are curtains, they look like curtains. First of all, it shows us that this is closer to the camera, or at least in a different level of depth than the rest of the illustration, because it's out of focus. So this creates this kind of frame inside the image. In Spanish, we call this sobreencuadre. I don't know what's the name in English. If you know, please leave it in the comments, because I'm very lost with that one. We have this new kind of frame that creates this shape that I like to analyze that shape alone, but also as a whole. So keep both in mind while we do this. Inside the shape, we can once again go with thirds. I'm gonna be doing like this quick guide. Not sure if this is correct. My cousin said it wasn't, so but I am not sure. I think it's up to interpretation. They are similar, at the same time they're different. In the big grid, the one that sees the whole picture, she's in this third, and in the small grid, she's actually kind of in the same, because she's like here-ish, and this guy here, I'm trying to draw the silhouettes. We have them here, again in thirds. And as we did before, we're gonna analyze how where they are looking affects us. We will see him, and he is looking at her, and she is looking at this little cute thing, and this thing is looking at her. So our focus is here. We have that reinforced with who looks where, and with the rule of thirds. Other thing that I find really interesting is, once again, we're playing with depth. First we have the curtains, then we have this thing and the characters. So it's like they're here. She's behind the curtain in this angle. Then we have the buildings in the back that are farther away from them. And then, as a fourth one, not sure if this counts as the fourth, but I'm counting it, we have the sky. So all these details give us that sense of depth. If you take close attention, here he's overlapping her. So things that are closer to us are gonna overlap, and we will not be able to see what's behind them if they're closer to the camera. So for example, we can't see the buildings that are behind him because he's closer to us. We can see what it's behind these curtains because they are closer to us. All those details help us a lot with giving our illustration some sense of depth. And finally, we're moving to something very, very different, that is classic painting from 1767. It's from the movement Rococo, and it's the swing made by Jean Honoré Fragonard. Again, I'm pretty sure I messed up the name. Sorry about that. There's a lot to analyze about this one, so take your cup of coffee and stay with me, please. For those of you who don't know the story behind this, it's this girl here. It's married to this man here, but she's having an affair with this one. Something very interesting about the composition in this one is that you have the love triangle, the literal love triangle there, which I love. I think it's very funny how you can represent a love triangle with a literal triangle inside the composition. There are several reasons of why we see the girl first, and then we realize the rest of the image. Let's start with who is looking where. We have the husband looking at her, we have this angel looking at her, we have the dog looking at her, the lover looking at her, or we're more specifically here, but more on that later. We have this other Cupid looking at her. Everyone is looking at her, so we are also looking at her. Now, another thing that we can pretty much notice right away, it's the difference in the colors. The main color in this painting is green, and dark green. She being pink, it's gonna generate a very big contrast. It's gonna make her stand out. Something that I noticed that I really like is that we have here that is also guiding us to her. Other thing in terms of composition that we have the spiral of Fibonacci. We start here and we don't have a lot of information. It's just trees and dark colors. Then we came here and here we have the husband. We keep moving, we find the dog. That symbolizes loyalty. We keep with the spiral and we get the lover. And we keep it and we keep moving and then we get here. That is finally where the attention is being drawn to. Taking into account the story that I was told is behind this painting, we can divide it here, ignoring this half, ignore it for now. We have a very beautiful woman devoted to her husband, loyal because there's this dog, and there are a couple of angels looking at her, so innocent, so open, so cute, everything is wonderful. And now, if we look to the other side, ignore this one, his focus is not on her. It's definitely not on her. His focus is here. He just wants to see her underwear because you know why he's here. Now we have this angel here that is also watching her. He knows everything because from his perspective, he knows about this man and he can also see the husband. He knows the full story, but mainly he's willing to keep the secret because look at that hand. Look at that hand. Here the bushes acts like some sort of wall, so the husband doesn't see it either, and he's not even looking at her. He's looking in her direction, but he's not looking her in the eyes. Actually, the only one that's kind of looking her in the eyes, it's the angel. This angel here, it's like, I'm not gonna tell, but what the hell are you doing? Because this one here, it's looking at her back, at what probably everyone thinks she's the wonderful woman that's loyal to her husband. The husband here can't see her face or the lover. So yeah, that will be pretty much it. I hope you enjoy it and see you in the next one. Bye!